morning. I'm Matthew Abraham.
I'm David Bevan.
In a moment, we're going off to Berlin. Well, it's been an international week. We've talked to the Premier in Helsinki,
Yes.
as you would have heard yesterday.
We spoke to Mary Kissel in New York just a few moments ago.
Off to Berlin,
Yes.
Germany, obviously, to talk to Rod Hook about his skyhooks. That's what he should have called the Skyway. But anyway, I quite like Skyway. But this is his proposal that's been, I think he has been, I think it's fair to say, mocked by some Labor MPs and dismissed by the government.
They
and the
haven't
Treasury.
embraced him.
No.
As somebody who was one of their centurions in the Labor Army for, the best part of 10 years, and who did the heavy lifting on big projects, transport projects around Adelaide, and then projects like the Adelaide Oval. It got to the point where, look, if there was a big project, they just called in Rod Hook. Rod would deliver it on time. Well, he and Joe Wetherill parted ways, and so he's gone off to look after the Skyway project. Which is a model of it, a trial, a test trial, pilot project will be built at Flinders University. It is, we're told, going to happen, and that's not just from Rod Hook, but also from Flinders University. Rod Hook, let's go to him in Berlin in Germany, Director of Skyway Australia. Good morning, Rod.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Dave.
Now, what are you... you're at this conference in Berlin.
Yeah, look, this is called InnoTrans 2016. It's about innovative transport. It's the biggest conference, they tell me, in the world ever. It's a leading trade fair for the world's leading innovators. So more than 2,700 exhibitors. Don't know the number of delegates, but probably more than 10,000. So it's quite huge, quite mind-blowing, in fact.
And you're there representing Skyway Australia. And have you actually got models or real-life exhibits of these pods that you're suggesting could solve some of Adelaide's transport problems? Describe to us what you're standing next to when you're at the exhibit.
Okay, the Skyway stand, look, in the scale of this conference, it's not a big stand, but we are there. We do have two of the initial pods, rolling stock. There's a unibus style that is there on display. So, look, whilst most stands and all the big firms are here, and whilst I can walk around and I can look at every conceivable tram or train or a whole range of other products, and most people are there to sell their product, what we're doing on our stand at Skyway is putting out the prototype of a couple of items of rolling stock. The first one's built, which is just putting some legs on the fact that we're here. This idea has got legs, and we're coming, and it's mainly an appeal to those who are investing in the company.
Now, for those who haven't caught up with this, can you explain simply what a Skyway is and where you're going to build it initially?
Well, there's three components for the Skyway system. There's probably more if I want to nail it down, but generally it is a system that will take freight. It's a system that can do high-speed interstate rail, and it's a system that can do urban transport. And the basic theme is you build a couple of beams in the sky, and you have rolling stock that can be whatever size you want to make it, but that basically either is mounted on top of these beams and runs above the ground, or it's suspended under the beams but still runs above the ground.
Along cables, obviously, or rails?
It's on a rail, so it's not a cable. It's not a cable car. Our system, I'm sure, will last longer than a cable car, because the steel that is in tension that holds our togethers holds our system or our track, our way structure together, is protected, enclosed in concrete, which is the way you would normally run your structures.
Now, what's capturing the imagination at this conference? Is it driverless cars, or is it trams, or what? What are people talking about?
Everywhere I go, universally, people here are saying that we have to embrace innovation and technology. We need energy efficiency. We need to minimise or eliminate the carbon footprint. We have to have effective application of funds. And this is in the context where people all through Europe are talking investing billions in rail. So we need to invest wisely. And I guess the point I would make is that SkyWay has its hand up on every one of those points. Now, there are other competitor products here that we're alongside, but if we want environmental enhancements, low carbon footprint, energy efficiency, and something that's innovative, we're there.
What are you planning? You're planning a sort of a passenger transport, commuter transport for the Flinders University site, correct?
Correct. We'll do a test site first at a separate site, and we're trying to identify the land for that, but that's just somewhere where we will demonstrate to people who want to come and see how it operates, but we'll use it as a test site more than a pilot project. Flinders University we're seeing as a pilot project. It would take students 500 metres up the hill, which is about a 50-metre rise, probably run off a building which the university wants to build at their northern lower station. We will need to work through the process of getting the formal approval for that to be authorised to carry people and carry them safely, of course.
So there'd be, at this lower building that they're going to build, a point there where you'd have effectively a station where people would be able to board one of these pods?
Yes.
That run.
Yeah, they're talking a multi-deck car park at this point, with probably some commercial and maybe some accommodation above it.
Okay,
so
and you ride from that up to the campus.
Up to the main registration, the main entry of the university.
Okay. Now, before you leave us, Rod Hook, Director of SkyWay Australia and former CEO of the Transport Department. This morning we hear that an old friend of yours, Portrush Road, is the scene of another two-truck accident. It's a rear-ender. And it's prompted a discussion about how we got to this position of trucks driving down Portrush Road. Now, this is not an attack on the truck drivers. They haven't got anywhere else to go, and they're just trying to do their job as safely as possible. So this is not an attack on the truck drivers. But it does show a serious failure of planning, surely, in this state, going back over decades.
Well, the main entry for trucks and everyone indeed coming from Melbourne, of course, is the South East Freeway. Probably even a lot of people come from Sydney, come that route. You go the South East Freeway. Excuse me. You get to Glen Osmond, and you either go Portrush Road or Cross Road.
So that's right. You need to grab a water from the Inno Transport stall there. You right there, Rod? No, I don't think he's. We'll have to come back to Rod in just a moment. Matthew Abraham and David Bevan with you here. We're talking to Rod Hook. He's Director of SkyWay Australia, very well known to us as the former CEO of the Transport Department of South Australia, and ran many big projects for the state government, including, from memory, the duplication of the Southern Expressway, and delivered that on time and on budget, and also Adelaide Oval, one of the big jewels in the crown for the government. Rod?
Yeah.
You right there?
Sorry. Yeah.
You sure?
Still going.
You're still going. Must be something in the water.
Could be.
You could have some German beer. Rod, are there any plans anywhere in transport, in the Transport Department of South Australia, sort of in one of those back rooms filled with filing cabinets for, the much talked about bypass that would take trucks before they really got to Adelaide around the back of the hills and come out at 2 wells, or certainly far north of Adelaide?
Really was never on the agenda in my time, either for rail or road, to do a major bypass. So it's always been bringing the trucks in and trying to get them through the city.
Yep, as safely as possible.
and the options were Portrush Road or Cross Road. A lot of money was spent in Portrush Road with fences to make that work, but we don't have a better option at the moment.
Okay, Rod, we'll let you go.
We'll let you go.
Rod,
Thank you, Rod.
Director of SkyWay Australia and former CEO of the Transport Department of South Australia. And as we've been hearing this morning, the calls we've had, thank you. This Portrush Road is the scene of a two-truck accident. We understand that there'd been no one seriously hurt. The drivers weren't seriously hurt. It was a rear-ender involving two B doubles, as David said, near the parade intersection there. And we've had quite a lot of calls about Portrush Road and why it ended up being our major transport route. And it sounds like it just did.
Text here from a truckie saying Portrush is a joke for us truckies. We need a freight route from the northern suburbs.
Now, in a moment.